Carter?
Yes, sir. Mr. Jackson, Mayor Jackson,
Here.
Mr. Robinson,
Here.
Mr. Lopez,
Here. I can't remember.
Mr. Bowen,
Here.
Ms. Parker, Mr. Heflin, Ms. Cordova. Here. Mr. Lucero,
Here.
Mr. Miller,
Here.
Ms. Parker,
Oh, Diane.
Can you hear me?
yes.
Delayed. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Thanks, Diane. Do we have one other person on line?
Ms. Taylor will be presenting during the comp plan presentation.
Oh, okay, good. All right. Thanks. We do have a forum. The invitation will be led by Veronica, and then I'll get some pledge allegiance. Stand. Ms. Cordova?
Heavenly Father, we come to you today. We thank you for all of our blessings. We thank you for all of the guidance that you give us each and every day. We pray that while you're in our meeting, that we do what's best for our community, what's best for our staff, and what's best for each other. In your holy name we pray, amen.
Amen. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. United Cultures. Next item is minutes of the previous meeting of myself on June 27th, 2023. The minutes for your packet. For the day in action, please.
Here, I see no corrections, so I move that it be approved.
Second. Motion to approve by Mr. Robinson and second by Mr. Lopez. All in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
No, abstain.
Thanks, sir. Motion carries. Next item is a presentation. First one is an update from ENMU by Dr. President James. Doctor, appreciate you being here. Thank you. On the stream to you.
Yes.
I'm Mayor Jackson, members of council. Thank you for an opportunity to present to you and provide an update on ENMU and what we have done and what we are looking to do in the coming year. As many of you know, I arrived in Portales on December 20th and summarily spent a couple of months in Santa Fe and very much enjoying the opportunity to get to the work of higher education and what we're here to do at Eastern. Some of the things that were of interest, and I'll touch on those and happy to stand for questions that you may have. Beginning with our enrollment numbers, our summer enrollment, we look at the semester credit hour production, that's our revenue stream, if you will, and also the head count for the student enrollment. Our summer was up 10.9% in semester credit hours over last year and 8.2% in head count. I think of greater interest is what's coming in the fall. Currently, our head count is up 6.6% over this time last year and 9.2% in semester credit hour production. Again, one of the things that I was asked about is increasing the residential presence of our students here at Eastern and Portales. One of the indicators of that is our current housing count. These are the ones that are signed up, paid deposits to live on campus this fall. As of last Friday, we are at 597. This time last year, we were at 410 and ended last year with 503. So we are 94 students over our final count last year with 7 weeks to go to the beginning of our academic year. So very encouraged by that, very happy to see that. And I think we'll continue to see that growth. And we are preparing for that at Eastern. A couple of things with the community. I know I've had the opportunity to present a number of venues, but we remain very much interested in the collaboration with the community, with the city. There are a number of things that we can do together. And one of those we've already worked on is applications to CDS for spending for improvements in the roads and sidewalks and wayfinding in and around the community. Another that has come up as I look at our facilities master plan is the crossing between East and West Campus. We have a very busy highway, a very busy railroad that divides the campus. And as we look to utilize the land and the space we have on West Campus, we have to solve that crossing problem for the safety of our students and our employees. We are looking at doing a traffic study to better understand that, look to get help from the state to solve that problem. But again, something very important as we continue to grow physically on campus. The other that I've worked on is deepening the connections between the community and the campus. We started one of the things you may have seen, and I know Mayor, we have had the opportunity to work with on this, the Rally on Main, and that's taking advantage of Family Weekend, bringing families of our students to the city, having an event on Friday evening and during the day on Saturday to really bring the community and the families of our students together, have some fun, have some food on the square, go down to the tailgating area and then to the football game. So we're very excited about that. And that is coming along very nicely. The other we are looking at is next up is homecoming and really engaging the community and providing opportunities to bring some of the local businesses, bring their employees to the tailgate, to the homecoming. And again, it's about impressions for our students. And when we talk about retaining our students upon graduation, that's the way we do that. We connect them to our community. They see this as a great place to live and work and raise families. And that begins with things like this. The other that I'll continue to work on in terms of collaborations like that are having some of the green and silver days in the community when we bring potential students to campus, or we bring our alum back to campus, or parents and families and so on. There's an opportunity to connect them with the community, and we're trying to be better community partners, giving a heads up. If we bring 500 or 700 or 1,000 people to the community, that our businesses are prepared for that influx of individuals for the weekend. The other is about those first impressions. As people travel to Portales, they see that support of Eastern in the community. And I've talked to some of our businesses about providing those Greyhound flags and just having those out and about in the community when people circulate through here. So those are some of the things that I continue to work on. One of the things that finally I'll end with this as the vision and direction for Eastern, and I'm worked with both the campus community, our board of regents, and individuals as I've met over the last few months. And it's taking shape around this idea of One Eastern, that our students have access throughout the system and start to think in terms of what we offer in Roswell and Ruidoso, and making those available to the students here in Portales and vice versa. One of the things the pandemic taught us and honed our skills in online technology, and also synchronous virtual meetings like the live stream here. You can conduct classes, in the same way. So we're working through that. I'll present that to the campus community when we began the academic year in the fall. So I'll stop there. With that, I'll stand for questions you may have, and anything else that we're doing at ENMU.
Sure. From the council?
I just like to say thank you for bringing students back into the community, because they're a vital part of what we do here. So thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Mayor Dr. Johnson, on your housing, students that are living on campus? Do you have any kind of numbers there?
Uh,
Who's in the community and not in a,
Mr. Ray, Mr. Miller, we don't have the exact count of those. We know we have near campus and off campus housing and living. We have a number of students that will live at home and commute back and forth within the area. What I can say is we had a number of our housing units offline for various reasons, and now we're working very quickly to bring those back online and available should we need them for the fall.
and just a quick follow-up, does the numbers that you gave, it's 597, does that include San Juan Village?
No, the apartment housing, those are our housing numbers and units. We will have we have set aside 103 dorms. We are working on an agreement with Canyon Air Force Base to help with their housing. So they won't need all of those, but we're working on balancing that of the needs of our students, what we may have in the fall, and supporting Canyon Air Force Base as part of that as well. But that agreement is still finalizing that and the numbers that they would need.
And finally, I'll just say that I certainly appreciate your vision and your willingness to work within the community. And, hopefully the community will work back with you in that way. So appreciate that.
And thank you. And if I may, I have had nothing but support for the ideas and direction and the intent to grow. And I've said this in a number of places. After a point, we have to grow together, the campus and the community, to support what we do and have that great residential university experience and what it truly means to be a college town. So I had great support in the community. Looking forward to that going forward. Thank you.
Doctor, you said something about flags. University gonna provide flags for business people, there'll be a cost to that, those flags?
Mr. Mayor, Mr. Robinson, to the extent we can, I look for, it's part of our promotional to provide some of those. I've done it in the past. We've had both providing a core number of those. We do things that may help. For example, our student scholarships, we would do sponsor packages as a fundraiser to help provide scholarships for our students. So there's a number of ways to do that, but I think it's important. It seems very basic, but when people come to town and they see that green and silver everywhere, it makes a statement, both for students, even when we have people visiting, teams coming to play us, there's a statement there too. So I appreciate the support of the community on that.
I'd like to say, Mr. Mayor, thank you for appointing me to the search committee for bringing the president on campus. And are you taking credit? Are you taking credit for? Because I told Dr. Johnson that I wrote on my notes, this is our next president. And so, and you doing everything, thumbs up, sir.
Thank you. I appreciate your confidence. And it's truly, I've said this over and over, it's truly been a homecoming for Stephanie and I. We've, since the day we arrived at that feel, that family atmosphere, that friendly community, this is what we were looking for as part of what brought us here, is to be a part of Portales. So thank you for that.
Anything else? Dr. Johnson, I'd just like to say thank you as well. And we've met a couple of times and I've enjoyed that, and really looking forward to the downtown activities for Parents Day, Parents Weekend. Being a part of that, I think that'll gel us a little stronger together, or anything we can do to help support.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Thank you.
Next item is our Finance Director, Paula Flynn. Are you here? Okay. Lawyer, you swear in. Paula, you'll come up to wherever you're comfortable.
I'll make her stand right in the middle and I'll just.
If you'll just turn me when I go.
Come right up here in front. Then you back to us to face you. Perfect.
I, qualify,
I, Tyler Flynn,
having been appointed
having been appointed
to the position of Finance Director
to the position of the finance
for
director
the city of Portales,
for the city of Portales,
the state and firm,
the state and affirm,
and in doing so,
in doing so,
I will uphold the Constitution of the United States,
I will uphold the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution and laws of the state of New Mexico,
the Constitution and laws of the state of New Mexico,
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
When you throw in there, Lawyer, good luck.
Are you sure?
Right, welcome.
Thank you.
It's Meredith.
Yeah.
You give it up. Where's your left there?
28.
Today?
No.
Which one to do it? Where to do it? Weeks. Are you ready?
I don't know, my movie.
Okay. I guess we will be too. Anyway, we'll get to deal with that a little bit later, I hope.
Yes, absolutely.
Item number 7 is the consent agenda. Items are listed below, are recommended by the city manager for placement on the consent agenda. Do I need to read each one of the items?
Yes, sir.
And then I'll read each one and then we'll request a motion to place those items on the consent agenda. First item is a recommendation for approval of the P and Z's recommendation approval of easement agreement 5 feet at 1301 South Avenue F. This easement was approved in the past. The second item is also from planning and zoning. It's a recommendation for approval to approve variance application to have multiple residents on an R1 single family residential zone at 1602 East L. Planning and zoning board unanimously approved this on 6/26. Third item is planning and zoning, a recommendation for approval of planning and zoning with a recommendation of approval of a replat of property addressed at 1708, 1712, 1716 Avenue K. P and Z board passed this on 6/26. Fourth item, planning and zoning, recommendation for approval of P and Z's recommendation to approve variance application. Vinebrook Homes LLC to do a C1 neighborhood commercial business out of planning PZ plan unit zone. P and Z board formally approved this on 6/26. Fifth item is also for the planning and zoning recommendation to approval of P and Z's recommendation to approve variance application. Everlasting Income Incorporated DBA Southwest Riding. Submitted an application to do automotive assembly rebuilding for the condition. C1 general or C2 general commission zone, which needs to be a minimum of an M1 light manufacturing. P and Z board unanimously approved this on 6/26. Next item is an approval for an authorized official signature for Water Trust Board project WPF 5104 final certifications. Presented by John DeShay and Susan Basin. Seventh item is approval to prepare and submit a BWSRLF pre-application for a water system service line inventory and replacement project. That's also presented by John DeShay and Susan. Eighth item is approval to prepare and submit a notice of intent for Water Trust Board WPF water storage, conveyance and delivery project. Mr. Shea and Susan put that together as well. And the last item is approval to use on-call engineering contract with Stantec for North Avenue K final design. This is being funded with capital outlay funds. C2223158, and that's presented from Mr. Chavez and Joe. Items are on the consent agenda, and I would request a motion. Those items to. What do I do?
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion, the items indicated, be placed on consent agenda.
Motion by Mr. Miller, second by Mr. Robinson. We need a roll call vote. Pardon.
Yes, sir. Mr. Robinson,
Yes.
Mr. Lopez,
Yes.
Mr. Bowen,
Yes.
Ms. Parker,
Yes.
Ms. Cordova,
Yes.
Mr. Lucero,
Yes.
Mr. Miller.
Yes. We're now making a motion to approve all the items on the consent agenda by unanimous vote.
I'll second.
Motion to approve all the items from Mr. Miller and second by Mr. Lucero. One more roll call, please.
Yes, sir. Mr. Robinson,
Yes.
Mr. Lopez,
Yes.
Mr. Bowen,
Yes.
Ms. Parker,
Yes.
Ms. Cordova,
Yes.
Mr. Lucero,
Yes.
Mr. Miller.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, council. Okay, action items, it's item 8 on here, and the first one is a public hearing for comprehensive plan for the city of Portales, citizen participation and discussion. Susan is going to administer this. First is action to enter into a public meeting. Please.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Cordova, second by Mr. Bowen, all in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. We are now in a public hearing. Susan, do you want to go with that?
believe that Phyllis Taylor is with us with Site Southwest online, and she'll be doing an overview and some information on why we need those public comments. We're opening the presentation currently.
Okay.
I could also share my screen.
It's not allowing us.
It's not allowing me.
Okay.
What are we going with, our screen?
Yeah.
Ms. Taylor, can you see our screen?
I can. Do you have a way to share the PowerPoint or just the?
Yeah, we'll get that pulled up now, ma'am.
Okay, great.
The one that's short.
There we go. Well, we had it.
There it is.
Can you see that, Ms. Taylor?
I can. Is it possible to show the full screen? It doesn't really matter.
It is the full screen.
We have it on.
We're seeing the whole screen.
Okay. Okay, well, I'll introduce myself and then I'll go through the presentation. I'm Phyllis Taylor. I'm a principal with Site Southwest. We're based in Albuquerque and we are planners and landscape architects in our firm. We've worked with Portales before over the years, and we're pretty excited to work on this project with your staff and the community. We're making an informational presentation tonight. We've also gotten copies and the link information to RCCDC and the Chamber of Commerce, and they're helping us get the word out to their members, and we'll be taking public comment until July 19th. And then we'll make changes and have a final draft for you for a second hearing on this project. So that's kind of where we are. Next slide, please.
Was online, it's showing, it's the next slide.
Yeah, that's, I can skip, there's a skip slide, but that's okay. So just to go over what a comprehensive plan is, it has several pieces to it. It's mostly about the physical development of the community. And in the case of this plan, the funding included having a more robust, I guess, economic development component. And so you'll see through the document, there's a lot of information that has to do with the local economy and some of the partnerships that you have related to economic development. But it includes a profile of the community, information on land use and zoning, housing, economic development, community services, and then your infrastructure, transportation, water, wastewater, storm drainage. And then there's a section on hazard mitigation. That's your emergency management component. And the final part of the document is a table that lays out a series of kind of goals for each of these elements and some recommended actions and who would do them. And where the funding might come from at the end. Next. So just the process that we've gone through in last summer, we got started in August. We were there in September, had our first community meeting, met with some stakeholder groups. And then for the next few months after that, we conducted interviews with various stakeholders to add information to what we were putting together. And then we did a community survey that was live in December and into early January. And so between those two means of gathering information from the community, we got a lot of information about what people's priorities are, what they're concerned about. We also met with staff. And so we took that information, and January through May, we developed a draft plan. It went through staff review. Because it has the economic development component, it went through economic development department review, and we took those comments and have put them into the draft that you have. And we're continuing to make changes with comments and questions from you and from community members that have an interest, and more staff comments, I'm sure. And then the plan is to finalize the plan this month and hopefully get it adopted. So next, just to think about the highest priority projects, there's a lot of projects mentioned, and I know your ICIP also has a lot of projects in it. But what we heard a lot about had to do with quality of life and just basic infrastructure. And from an economic development standpoint, that had a lot to do with the appearance of the community and retaining and attracting new businesses and recruiting and retaining employees. So things that came up multiple times were downtown redevelopment, solid waste collection improvements, improvements to some of your recreational facilities, some of your other buildings, your library, the cemetery, the memorial building needing renovation, the new animal control facility, better bike and pedestrian connections between downtown and ENMU. Roads were a big concern of the community and wanting to see improvements there. Sidewalk improvements, especially in high pedestrian areas like downtown, around schools and A&MU. And new housing was another big want from people of all kinds, recognizing that you could get some higher density housing options for people in downtown. Particularly, there's a need for newer, better rental housing. Having partnerships to develop affordable housing. We recognize that the city is not a housing developer, but the city can be a partner in projects. And the affordable housing projects that are being built in New Mexico, especially with the low-income housing tax credits now, are really geared to your entry-level workforce. And that a lot of communities have used as an opportunity to build their rental housing and as a way to attract entry-level workers. Single-family infill was mentioned, and also accessible housing and senior housing in particular. Housing rehab needs, property maintenance and code enforcement, and also the water supply projects, including your reuse water and your wastewater system improvements. Next. There's also, I mean, Portales has kind of amazing regional partners, the ENMU and the Cannon Air Force Base and your economic development organizations, EPCOG. So things that are mentioned in the plan that would be collaborations with these partners are tourism promotion, and that includes events like those that are held at ENMU and draw visitors to Portales, and the regional attractions, the state park and other regional attractions around you. Some shop local initiatives to help support local small business, and then local business promotion along with that. Improved health services, including mental health and addiction services were mentioned in particular. Public transportation. And then just recruiting and retaining new and more diverse retail, more childcare options, value-added agriculture as a sort of base industry type, alternative energy development, using LEDA funding to support local businesses, and I know you've done that already, and workforce development. ENMU is a great resource there, but people also mentioned the idea of work-study programs, even for high school students, internships for ENMU students, and offering more certification classes. And I think the idea behind that was not only to improve the workforce that's already in Portales, but to keep those graduates from ENMU and bring back people who've grown up in Portales and maybe left and have opportunities to get entry-level jobs in Portales. There was also a mention that small businesses, as owners age, could use some help with succession planning, and that's another potential for some of your younger families. And then just help with staff recruitment for essential services. So your city and county employees, hospital workers, school employees, things like that. So I'm just going to go through each element and just highlight what came out of our research on those elements next. And we'll just talk about kind of a key couple of things for each one. For economic development, people were really interested, and this came from the community survey, the meetings that we held, the interviews that we had. They're wanting to bring in needed services, healthcare, childcare, et cetera. And when we're talking about either new employers or retaining and recruiting employees that are already here, I think those quality of life projects make a big difference. People are interested in higher paying jobs. And then the next two behind that are just marketing local small businesses and seeing kind of job creation and job training programs. Next. For housing, just the improvements in the quality and availability of housing were a big priority for people. Senior housing in the survey, these are the survey results on the right-hand side here. Senior housing kind of edged out everything else, but other ones that people were interested in were new single-family homes, rehab of existing homes to kind of improve how the neighborhoods look for one thing, but also just to have those options for people looking for older homes, and then new rental housing. Next. For land use, people were interested in filling in some of the vacant land and vacant buildings in the downtown area with local businesses. Maintaining the small town feeling, that's one of the big assets that Portales has. But still having some of the benefits of a big city. You've got the university, you've got pretty good shopping opportunities. But people would like to see a little more diversification there while also retaining the small town character. And then beautification of historic buildings and parks, public open spaces, and then the strong downtown core. Next. For community facilities, healthcare was a big priority, and following that, a new animal control facility, and following that, child care and after-school programs. Those were the biggest ones, but there were several other things mentioned that people were interested in. Just having high-quality community services, having high-quality recreational facilities for families, and the library was of interest to people, having more programming there. Next. For transportation, just the road improvements were the top priority there, followed by water system improvements. I think people realize there's a limited water supply, and I know that the city's been very proactive in water conservation, water reuse, and their participation in the Eastern New Mexico water utility. After that, there are drainage facility improvements wanted, and transfer station improving the wastewater collection options. Next, other infrastructure. The transportation and the infrastructure were kind of all lumped together, so we've really covered this, but water, wastewater, garbage, trash, and broadband, and just needing to find the funding. And I know you had other items on your agenda already to help fund those improvements. Next. And then finally, hazard mitigation. And the priorities really had to do with your police, fire, and EMT responses, making sure they have the equipment they need and that the response times are good. Maintaining a safe community, a new police station was mentioned, flood control was mentioned, and again, taking care of the equipment needs of those departments. Next. So the next steps are public review over the next 10 days or so, producing a revised final draft. And then we need to submit the final draft to the Economic Development Department prior to August 1st. And either sometime before or after that, having an adoption hearing on the final draft. And we were looking at bringing this back to you on the 25th And do you have any comments or questions?
Anybody on the council? Anybody from the public have any questions or comments for Ms. Taylor? Yeah. No questions, ma'am.
Okay. Well, we're looking forward to the document being available for the public and getting review and comments back if people have any. I think we got an awful lot of information from the community already, which we appreciate very much. And I thank you for your time.
Thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Mayor, there's no public comment. I make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Miller, second by Ms. Cordova. Need a roll call vote. Did you make it? All good. Say aye. All opposed?
Aye.
I don't know, or
I think that was an aye. That was in favor.
no aye. All right. Motion carried. We're close. Any recommendations for revision so far, Sarah? Someone else.
I just wanted to thank all of the people that in the community that have provided feedback. We had a huge amount of people that actually participated in the online survey. So I'm just very grateful for the community members and organizations that have put so much effort and thought into improving our comprehensive plan.
Thanks, Susan. Diane, did you have something to add?
No, I did not. Thank you very much. That was a good presentation. Thank you.
We did have 350 responses to the survey, which is a lot. It's something like 8% of all the households in the city.
Well, that's pretty good. Thank you.
Thank you again. All right, moving on. Next item is from the street department. This is resolution 23-24-01. Participation in local government road fund program. Be here.
That'll be
Joe.
Joe.
Hello, Council, Mr. Mayor. We are asking, this is for our MAP grant, and we're asking that you accept resolution number 222346. And this is actually, the project agreement and amounts remain unchanged from the last time that we talked about this resolution. NMDOT requested that we would revise the resolution to where it shows the phase amount rather than the entirety of the project amount. And so that would be this resolution.
So this resolution will take the place of 222346.
Yes.
Yes, yeah.
Any questions for Joe? That's Avenue O and 18. That's the intersection.
And our match is 25%, is that correct? $11,017.
It is 11,017. Yes, sir.
Any questions? Any more questions for Joe?
I have one.
Okay.
So whenever we're submitting these, if we submit them that way and then they come back for us to revise, could that possibly kick us out for the grant, or they just want us to revise it
It's a formality.
because it's already been
Right. It's already
granted?
been granted and it is a formality just so that way the paperwork's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Daniel?
Is it gonna be concrete?
I believe so. Yes, it is.
We're getting a nod from Susan back there.
Yeah. Yes.
Any other questions? I'd entertain action on resolution 23-24-01, please.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Simmons, second by Mr. Bowen. We need a roll call. for resolution.
Yes.
All right.
Mr. Robinson,
Yes.
Mr. Lopez,
Yes.
Mr. Bowen,
Yes.
Ms. Parker,
Yes,
Ms. Cordova,
Yes.
Mr. Lucero,
Yes.
Mr. Miller.
Yes.
Thank you. Third item is from the fire department. It's approval to destroy outdated records in the fire department described as EMS run for 2009, 2010, and accounts paid in full from 2017, 2018, 2019. Steve?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. As you're all aware, we're required to keep the past 10 years of EMS runs and 3 years of accounts paid in full. Right now, we have a big project going on trying to get everything switched over to electronic so that it's a whole lot easier for us to maintain. Patty, Emma, and a few other people have helped tremendously with that. But we are requesting that for your approval to destroy these accounts paid in full. From 2017, 18, and 19, and EMS runs from 2009 and 2010.
Any questions for the fire chief?
I just one quick, Mayor. Chief Kathy, is this a service that we pay to have destroy these documents, or how they dispose of them?
We already employ a document shredding company for our normal paperwork that has to be, then this all fits in, correct, Patty?
Yes.
So there's no additional cost.
Okay.
Very good. Entertain action on this item, please.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion to approve by Ms. Cordova, second by Mr. Lopez. All in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, chief. Next item is public input, for which no action will be taken, any matter not known about, or which could not have reasonably been foreseen prior to the time of the posting of the agenda. This agenda item is for information purposes only. Public comments will be limited to 3 minutes per speaker, limited to 1 presentation per meeting, and no more than 6 speakers on the subject. Counselors will not respond to comments or answer questions to avoid any violation of the Open Meetings Act. Direct any questions or requests for information to the city manager in writing during regular business hours. All that being read and said, anybody from the community? Carl?
Carl, while you walk up there, I was gonna state that you can purchase the flags with Carl for the green and silver.
You can't. And if you don't, I'll have a bunch of flags left. No, Carl Terry from the Roosevelt County Chamber, and first purpose for me tonight was to give a big thanks to the city in general, and some folks in particular for help with our fireworks over this was it past weekend? Past week. We can't do this without especially the Dallas Fire Department, and Chief Kathy was extremely helpful, attended all of our meetings, even though we had to have more than one this year, and we really appreciate his help and keeping everybody safe, and we appreciate the traffic control and other input that we got from Chief Williams with the Dallas Police Department, and then he's not here, but Steve's folks from Parks and Streets helped us out with the venue site, and to the extent of even having to come back and do some more mowing so that we could make sure that we kept the site as safe as possible. And we I think had a very good, I got very good feedback after everything was said and done, and we really appreciate our community members for donating. It's a completely community focused and supported event. It's just strictly on donations from the public, and we appreciate that. And we appreciate the city for allowing us the venue and the support from their staff. Second thing is we'll just remind everybody of Heritage Days coming up this weekend. And I'll take my hat off to Steve in case I don't make it back later to thank him. He's helps us out a lot in the parks and getting everything set up and ready for that day. And thank you in advance to the city for use of the building in the park and whatnot. And we really think this is going to be a great Heritage Days. We may have to get Chief Kathy to bring a fire truck out and hose everybody down, but other than that, I think it should be great. And invite everybody to come out.
Thanks, Carl.
Thanks.
Anything else? Anyone else in the? Other? That.
I have one if I could start.
Go ahead.
So, there was a stop sign that was stolen that was reported on Beach Street. Going east and west towards you, so we need to get that one replaced. And then, I did text Sarah a little bit earlier, to say that we just need to talk about staffing as far as where we're at with open positions. Can you just, give us a brief
Yes.
update on what's open?
We have positions open in the fire department, the police department, payroll position we have opened. We have some in the water, wastewater and streets department as well. And it's all online, and the application, you can fill it out online as well. And it goes directly to HR. So it's super streamlined.
Okay, and I did see some of them that were posted on our Facebook page as well. I just knew it wasn't updated, so I just wanted to let the community know what was available.
Pat's drivers as well. I did miss Pat, so I apologize. We have full-time and part-time and a dispatcher for Pat's because our longtime dispatcher is leaving us.
Okay.
Sarah, for the next meeting along those lines, can we get something that tells us maybe how many applicants we've had?
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
And then if we need to have like a community fair, like a job fair, or look at using the staffing agencies for temporary, so we can get on
We do
permanent
use It's Quest, so if
employees.
we do have those temporary positions, you can go online to It's Quest and fill out an application and then let them know what you're looking for. And Carol's very good about getting back to us.
Okay, and we're using those not only as temporary positions, we're using those to fill permanent positions. Like they'll come on temporary and then become a permanent employee.
Yes, in some departments we have two, and I did miss solid waste sanitation. We definitely need people in that area as well, because tomorrow our convenience center will unfortunately be closed due to staffing shortages. So if anybody's looking, you just have to pass a drug test and a background check, and that is it to get in. So we do train everybody too, so that's helpful.
Thank you.
And
The stoplight at 70 Kilroy, did we ever figure out?
We're working with the state and our contract consultant with that, Justin Reese. We're trying to get approval from the state to help us get left and right turn at the
North and south.
yes, north and south. I'm sorry, I'm still learning this. So the PD is doing, the chief's doing some research, and he asked for Mr. Sanchez of the state asked for research on that, so we can kind of do our own traffic study and show how many accidents we've had. And once we get him that, hopefully we can have another meeting with him to say we definitely need the left and right turns there.
I have one more thing. First and second driving through town. I know that's a state highway. There's just tons of weeds. It looks horrible driving through this town. I know you talk about staff shortages, but it seems like someone could just sit on the back of the tailgate and spray around on those weeds, kill them, and I don't know why it got like that.
I will talk with Steven and see what we can do to get with the state on that.
I saw a crew out a couple weeks ago, though. It's been maybe before the rain, and we had it down there.
I just don't know why it got
The
like
crew I saw about daylight. Put that median part out. It doesn't take long for them to regrow. Right. Anything else?
I got some.
Okay.
Can you bring us up to date on the water? How low and how high the tanks are, or do they have improved, or?
Yes, I'm gonna actually allow John's crew to do that because they are watching that very, very closely. So if you wouldn't mind giving him the floor.
As we said, right now, we are able to fill the tanks. It took us 7 days to fill the tanks. the conservation efforts around town have been amazing for that. Unfortunately, our production ability continues to decline. We're now at 2,409 gallons a minute, which is down about 100 gallons a minute from when we declared the emergency. Right now, we could fight a fire if we needed to, but we can't come off of the restrictions anytime soon. The production ability is just not there. We do have crews out patrolling, looking for people that are watering. We've had to shut off. I don't know if we've reached a dozen people yet that we've had to shut off. We've had great response. It really has been tremendous. And the businesses are working with us. We've talked to all the restaurants. We talked with the university, the Beehive, the hospital, places like that. And we've had excellent response and great partnership with them. In fact, Car Wash agreed to shut down 2 of his bays. I know every now and then he opens up one of the manuals whenever they get overwhelmed, but they're still working with us on that. They all realize what's going on. And then we also have crews out patrolling for nuisance leaks. And we work those in batches as we can. Right now, we're kind of stretched on manpower, of course. Everybody's out patrolling and getting quite a bit of overtime on that. So we're trying to manage that as we go.
I know that you're doing a good job in patrolling, because somebody told me they got a warning.
Yes. We put out quite a
If you
few
got a
warnings.
warning, you're probably gonna get a ticket next time.
But what we do is we give them a warning. And then the next time we turn their water off to have them contact us. And then if we find it again, we pull their meter. And then they have to come down and talk to us, and we'll decide then whether or not to let them have the meter back. But there's a lot of strategies that we're using for that. We're not turning on yard meters right now. We're not doing new taps. Those kind of things until we can see what direction we're going to be moving.
And I just want to thank the community for helping us with water conservation. And then everybody that is in the community supporting the city on this, whether it's on Facebook comments or in public, letting their neighbors know that may not have Facebook or social medias, that they can get the information out to them.
That part has been fantastic.
Well, I agree. Yeah,
Thank you.
I agree. I think people have stepped up and I appreciate them stepping up. Oscar, you have anything?
No, sir. No, sir. No, sir.
And that's the only thing I would say too, is I appreciate the citizens stepping up and, it's not easy and it's horrible to see your yard go from being gorgeous when we had all the good rain. And then when we get 105 temperatures out there, it'll take longer. So, right, 40-mile-an-hour winds, and then we're not seeing anything different on that. So I appreciate it. I think we're gonna get there. I trust that we're doing everything we can do in the wells. We're doing everything we can to do to improve those, to make sure that we're taking care of our needs and addressing that. I'm not overly excited on us just hammering some of the citizens about like we said, looking, and God forbid we're looking over somebody's fence or through their gate to see if they're watering in the backyard. I've had a couple of calls about that, and hope we're not doing it. So, I appreciate everybody doing that. And we'll have another meeting in a couple weeks. Anything else?